Hey there, Lemon Nation. We got a woke pope. Sort of. Kind of. Maybe. We can discuss it.
It's woke-ish.
Woke-ish. He's got a tinge of woke, a patina
a tinge
of woke.
For a pope, we'll say woke. Okay.
Yeah, as woke as you can get, reasonably speaking, for a pope. We're going to discuss it. We got the Lemon Legends coming up in just a minute. But yeah, in case you have been under a rock, we have a new pope. We got it earlier this afternoon. What, Nikki? Around maybe 2 o'clock-ish, 3 o'clock-ish, a little earlier?
A lot quicker than I think a lot of people are expecting.
I crunched the numbers, actually. Do you want to guess how many Scaramucci's it took?
Well, let's see. That would have been like 1/5 or 1/6 of a Scaramucci.
Almost. So Scaramucci's 11 days. So per my calculations, and granted, they're not down to the minute, but if we say it's 2 days, I think that's 0.18 Scaramucci's. Not long.
Bad. Not bad.
Long. All right, let's dive right into things. I'm sorry, guys, it's going to be a slightly shorter show tonight because I have to run to an event. We'll be clocking out of here around 5:40, but let's have fun. Let's watch a CBS News report on our new maybe woke pope.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us here on CBS News 24/7. I'm Lindsay Reiser. A truly history-making day at the Vatican, where the Catholic Church has elected its new leader. This was the scene just a short time ago when Cardinal Robert Prevost of the United States came to the balcony in St. Peter's Square after being announced as the new Pope of the Roman Catholic Church. Cardinal Prevost, who was chosen the name Pope Leo XIV, blessed the crowd after his speech, shortly after the conclave made its final decision.
How we can together be a missionary church, a church that builds bridges, that is always open to receive everyone, just like in this square, to receive everyone, to welcome everyone, our charity, our dialogue and love.
Pope Leo XIV is the first American-born pope to be elected ever. The 69-year-old was born in Chicago before doing his missionary work in Peru. He went on to be elevated to a cardinal by Pope Francis in 2023. Now, it took at least 4 rounds of voting over the course of 2 days to see this: the white smoke billowing out of the chimney on the Sistine Chapel, announcing the selection of the 267th pontiff. Out of the 133 cardinals who participated in the voting, 2/3 of them plus one had to agree in order to solidify the decision. As you can see in these images, tens of thousands of people have rushed to St. Peter's Square to witness this spectacle and to celebrate the moment. Now we have team coverage of the new Pope. CBS News Papal contributor Francis Rocca is in Rome, and CBS News Papal contributor Candida Moss is with me here in Studio 57. Frank, we're going to go ahead and start with you. First, just your reaction, what you make of the new Pope and the reaction in the crowd.
Well, it's remarkable. I mean, he was on some of the lists. This doesn't come entirely out of the blue, but late in the game, everybody assumed that if we had a result this quickly, it would be Cardinal Parolin, because he was the front runner without a question, and we thought if somebody else is going to emerge, it's going to take longer. But that turned out not to be true. And you know, as journalists, I think we were hoping for an exciting story, and you know, an Asian Pope, an African Pope, but this is no less exciting.
How would you describe him ideologically in terms of many of the issues that will be facing the church and that he will have to contend with as Pope?
Well, it's an interesting question. He served for a little bit more than 2 years at the end of Francis's pontificate. He ran the office for the selection of bishops. So he was in charge of advising the Pope on what bishops to appoint. He kept a low profile on the most contentious, neuralgic, sensitive, controversial issues. But when he was in the previous pontificate under Pope Benedict XVI, and he was the head of the Augustinian order, a religious order, he spoke in a more familiar way of that period about culture war issues, you know, about homosexuality or about abortion or about the secular media and that sort of thing. So it's interesting. It will be interesting to see if that voice reemerges now. That was sort of taboo. It was out of fashion under Francis. We'll see what happens under Leo.
Yesterday, you were telling me the longer this goes on, the more interesting and unpredictable the process becomes. Do you think that this decision was made so quickly by design for the cardinals to show a sense of unity?
Well, I think has been that pressure in recent decades, not just in recent years, but in recent decades, the feeling that a long conclave will be a problem. And I think that there is a lot of division in the church. Everybody knows that. Polarization grew. To some extent, Francis revealed what was already there. To some extent, he exacerbated it for better or worse. And I think there was a great desire for unity, and they unified behind him. I think he probably was able to swing evidently a fair number of moderates, at least, maybe also conservatives behind him.
That's great, Andy. Thank you. Very interesting, Nikki. As some of the Lemonheads have pointed out, I may have buried the lead because we talked about the maybe woke pope aspect to all of this. We did not mention at the top that it was an American pope.
American pope.
I don't know, right?
Yeah. Which I think some people are a little concerned about at first, considering America's position. And I do see a lot of people asking who cares at this point. And I get that if you're not religious, maybe this isn't the biggest news. But the facts are, I myself am not Catholic, but the Pope is an influential figure.
Oh, yeah, I think it's a big deal.
Exactly. It is. And it can influence a lot of people. This is something that where he stands on specific issues can dictate where the church goes. And currently in America, where policy may go.
Absolutely, and they did not get into it in that news report, but he is no fan of J.D. Vance nor Donald Trump, and we have the goods to back that up. We'll get to that in a second, but first, let's bring in our friends, the Lemon Legends.
Lemon Legends! Hi!
Hey, Legends! How y'all doing?
Hey there,
hi, Max.
everybody.
Max wanted to say hi to you guys.
Hi.
Hi, Max.
So May
what
Money.
are you hearing?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
What do we think about this? May Money, how are you feeling?
I mean, I'm kind of ignorant to like what the Pope does and stuff. So, I mean, hey, it's cool as long as he's on the right path and on the right side of things. I mean, I ain't tripping. Good for him. I'm happy that he's not like an evildoer. That's all we can really ask for in this moment of time.
That's
but
fair.
yeah, I don't really know like what the Pope really does or anything. So yeah.
Fair enough. Did any of you Legends, have any of you really dug into Pope Leo? Have any of you been doing some research online? What do y'all think? Are you impressed? Are you intrigued? Are you disappointed? How do you feel?
Michelle, I saw you raise your hand.
I think it was well played by the Catholic Church to make this move. He's been very outspoken about J.D. Vance and Trump, and I think that it was a well played move. It'll be interesting to see.
We've referenced that now a couple of times. Why don't we, Andy, put up a couple of the Pope's tweets about the administration? So you'll see here, this is now the Pope, now our Holy Father, saying J.D. Vance is wrong. Jesus does not ask us to rank our love for others. This was following a rather infamous tweet from J.D. Vance, series of tweets from J.D. Vance, saying that, the Catholic Church, the Christians more broadly, are incorrect in saying that we should love everyone, love your neighbor, love the poor, love migrants. He says, no, love your family, love your neighbor first.
Our own only, yes.
Screw the migrants. And quite powerful to have the now Holy Father condemning J.D. Vance. Andy, do we have one or two more of those? So this is him.
JD, your smoky eye is popping.
This is now the Pope retweeting an account, and I'll just summarize. This person, Rocco Palmo, is mocking Trump and Bukele's Oval Office chat, where, of course, you all will remember they mused about, one, deporting American citizens to El Salvadoran gulags. He also says, how can you not see the suffering of these migrants, of these people? How is your conscience not disturbed? How can you stay quiet? Really quite something. And I think we have one more tweet. This is the most recent, if I'm not mistaken, post that the Pope made before being elected. Yes. Yes, that's the same tweet, but it's him slamming the Trump administration, him slamming Donald Trump's migrant policy. Nikki, Legends, are you surprised that maybe this guy didn't go back and clean his Twitter thread? Maybe try and present himself as more moderate, more middle of the road. He put it all out there. He said, if you're going to elect me Pope, everyone's going to know how I stand about the MAGA movement.
If they wanted someone that was more conservative, they had an abundance of choices that they could have gone with for that. They went with the pick that Pope Francis himself would have gone with. That's making a statement. I don't see a need to clean up his Twitter because that's part of why I think he was chosen.
Legend, what do you? Oh, sorry.
No. Let's hear from the legends on that. I'm not Catholic, so I may not have the best perspective on this. Maureen, yeah.
I was brought up Catholic. I'm not practicing Catholic now. I'm amazed. Never thought they would vote in an American. But this man seems like he has an amazing background. He's empathetic. I understand that he was bishop in Chicago, in the south side of Chicago. I like what he said. I think it'll be wonderful if he's straightforward right now. So I also think it's good that he's 69 years old. They needed a younger pope, as we're starting to say about our presidents. So I'm very optimistic about it. I think sounds like he's a good person.
Kim Page, I think you had your hand up a second ago too, if you want to chime in.
I did too. I'm not Catholic, but I think it's really important that we have forward-thinking leaders on the world stage. And that's what I'm really happy about, because it seems like we're split, not just in the US, but around the world. A lot of people want to go backwards. And so I'm very, very happy that we have someone that looks to be a leader who wants to take us forward globally. And I also I've heard some things too, that he's just a real humble person, soft-spoken, and that gives me hope as well. So I just like the historical fact and that we have a potential leader who, again, will take us forward, not backward.
I know there was some concern about the fact that he's an American, considering America's influence. But I think it was a statement that when he spoke to the crowd, he didn't speak in English at all. He spoke Italian, I believe Latin and Spanish. I know he spent some time in Peru, but he made a point to not address the crowd in English, which I think is an indicator that he's intending to be more of a pope for the world, not just for America, which is a good sign.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I had that question. I was like, did he speak English at all? Because I saw like a video right before we got on, and he was speaking in like Italian or something. So I was wondering if he spoke English at all. So okay,
he does. So he made a point not to, which is interesting.
That's cool. Yeah, no, that is an interesting kind of approach. He seems like a kind of like a little bit of a wild card, which is a good thing. You know what I mean? He seems like a real one. So I'm excited to see what influence he has and like what he can do to kind of help get us through this nonsense.
What's interesting about that, man, when you call him a wild card, he was actually Pope Francis's preferred successor. Francis made no secret of the fact that this was his guy that he wanted. But the betting markets, no one thought that he was going to be picked. All the news reports yesterday on our evening show, no one called him one of the leading contenders. And that's because, as we're talking about, he's American. And the papacies and the cardinal long viewed America being so politically powerful and so economically powerful that there's no reason to then reward them with religious power as well. That's why there's been such resistance to giving America a pope, so to speak, of course. And so it is very interesting that they chose this man. And going back to Nikki's point from a minute or two ago, I believe, maybe it's because they were aware that he was so outspoken against Donald Trump, against J.D. Vance, and against MAGA more broadly. What do you all think, legends?
Anitra,
I think that maybe part of what I was thinking was that his outspokenness, they're looking forward to that because somebody needs to speak up. JD Vance being a Catholic, I'm not a Catholic, but he's a Catholic. He, you know what I'm saying, he's going to have trouble splitting with the Pope, you know, going different ways if he's going to be, say he's a Catholic. But I do believe that it's great that he is progressive and he's going to go ahead. But the thing is, he's speaking different languages. He's talking about all inclusion. He is going to bump heads with that administration, and they're going to be trying to deport him next. I don't put it past them. I'm just saying.
Deport him to where? Back to his mama house? Like,
well, I think he has some ties to South America.
He spent some time in Peru, I believe.
Right, and so that's what he'll be saying. He's a DEI hire because he doesn't agree with him, and he'll be trying to send him back. He's trying to send us back, and we from here. I'm just saying.
You're not wrong.
I'm just saying. I'm just stating the facts.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room. By elephant in the room, of course, I mean MAGA and the GOP. And their reaction this afternoon was really quite something. Andy, can we throw up that tweet chain from Megyn Kelly? Friend of the show, Megyn Kelly. So you have to read from the bottom up. So the bottom is the first tweet. It's announced that white smoke has poured from the Sistine Chapel, signaling that a pope has been elected. Megyn Kelly, her initial reaction is, praise God, this is exciting. Then about 90 minutes later, she's still having fun with it. She tweets out, the new pope is from Chicago, the Pope. And then finally, this is the most recent tweet, as things are trickling out about how much criticism Pope Leo has issued towards JD Vance, towards Donald Trump, towards the administration. She tweets out, is it too much to hope that some 20-year-old ran the new Pope's X account and never looked at it? And he never looked at it, rather. Let's just throw up a couple more full screens. Andy, I think we have something from Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk said today, the new Pope was retweeting George Floyd propaganda. That propaganda in question was just saying that, we should not be killing extrajudicially innocent Black people. And then I think we have one more, Andy, if you can put it up. Oh, yes. Laura Loomer, of course, friend of the show. We chatted about her this morning, actually.
Yeah, wasn't she going on about Marxism this morning as well?
Uh-huh. Well, according to her, we have a now woke Marxist Pope. So MAGA is going through it. Nikki, what do you make of this? What do you make of MAGA?
Like I said, to be clear, I see some people commenting that he is not all that friendly to the LGBTQ plus community. And this is true. He does hold some views that are quite conservative, as have all of our past popes. I think that when we say woke-ish, we're saying for the Pope. So that's a yes. It's not going to be, we're not going to get someone in there with AOC and Bernie Sanders views.
Yeah. I had
these MAGA people get tired of all this, just being a hater. Like, isn't
I think that's kind of their brand.
Jeez.
Just be a hater.
Yeah. I was Nikki, you and I were chatting about this earlier today. I was somewhat irked by some of the conversation online. Folks saying, he's not that great. He's not nearly as good as you all think. Just look at what he said about gay marriage going back to 2012 or so. And to them, I'm like, guys, this is the Catholic Church we're talking about. This is the papacy, okay? And it actually is a very big deal to have a pope who is so open and so vociferous in his condemnation of MAGA, of Donald Trump, of JD Vance, and who is also just as vociferous in his support and his championing of Black and brown people, of migrants, and of the poor. So, I'm sorry, you got to take what you can get. This is, to me, a huge win for not just the Catholic Church, but for the world.
Nicole, I saw you had your hand up.
Yeah, how y'all doing, man? I know it's been a minute, but how y'all doing, man?
How'd the show go?
Good to see you.
It was amazing. amazing,
great.
amazing,
So
amazing
good to
to the
hear.
place where I literally crashed out afterwards and got sick, and I've been healed just in time to see a new pope come in. So let's talk Christianity, because that's what's on the table, y'all. That is what's on the table today, you guys. And this is so weird. MAGA is crashing out because, unfortunately, they are desperately still and will always use faith to wield power. They will utilize faith to wield power. Faith is one of their number one weapons. And so if they can infiltrate people's faith and their faith practices, their belief systems, they will then utilize those to win and monopolize votes. Because for some reason, those two must be exactly the same, which we don't even have the time to go into the research of the Black Protestant church that can disprove all of that. But that's a whole other discussion. We're talking about the Catholics today. What these people will never understand, and what every Catholic who is out there listening will understand, this is not about their politics. This is about their church father. This is about their church father, their faith leader, not their political leader, not their. This is about their faith leader. And it just so happens that that faith leader has a mandate. And his mandate is to follow as accurately as possible the Holy Scriptures and the Apocrypha, as he has been trained and taught to do. And to then adjudicate to them kind of how the court systems would adjudicate to us in the legal and governmental terms, what those scriptures and Apocrypha mean. He is the great translator for their entire church. When they read through that, it goes through him to say, all right, this is what this means. And this is how we should be governing ourselves. And of course, there's going to be agreements and disagreements within their faith system as to how far that goes or doesn't go. All right. And the only thing these idiots can think about is, what does that mean for our votes? It's sick. It's demented. It's insane. And they're trying to do to the Catholic Church the same thing that they have done to the evangelical church. Because that's exactly what they've done to the evangelical church, in which now, strangely enough, evangelical does not mean a faith practice or a faith tradition. Evangelical is now its own, like, political party. Like, what are the evangelicals voting? Not which church they go to, not which Bible version are they reading, not, oh, well, who's your favorite pastor? What'd you think of the sermon this last week? You know, no, it's how are you voting? And being evangelical determines that way more than it determines any of the other things. It's insane. And it has absolutely nothing to do with faith anymore. It's weird to me, and I'm sure it's weird to anybody else who actually has a faith, a faith practice that they hold dear to themselves. Perhaps for agnostics or for those who are just like, well, but for those who have actual faith practices that they hold cold to, this is just a bunch of weirdos.
Yeah, no, it is hella weird because, like, I mean, like, that's why I'm interested in this Pope, because he seems to be pretty outspoken, for the most part. And our side has been very silent, and we just don't have the messaging right. We don't have enough teeth. We don't have enough bite. Like, sometimes you just got to call a bitch to their face. You know what I mean? And, like, it sounds like he's not afraid to just talk. And because these people are getting crazy bold, like, with, like, Andy, I wanted to bring up, because this kind of has something to do with it. You were on with Jack yesterday. I just watched your video with Jack, and there was this white woman who was like, yeah, I'm just total on Piers Morgan. Like, I'm just totally okay with, like, calling people N-words right to their face or whatever, using the N-word. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on up in this bitch? Like, really, lady, sitting behind your computer? So it just seems like they're just so bold and emboldened, and it's like really good to have somebody on our side that's willing to call their shit out. So yeah, I don't know.
Can I
Hi,
just
Max.
add, as a former, I'm not anymore, but I was, as a former Italian Roman Catholic,
Jump in.
and actually who went to St. Augustine's Catholic school when I was younger. I think why they're so upset, honestly, guys, is because the papacy and the history and the power is what they want. And there's just nothing comparison, argumentative one way or the other, right? About, I mean, we can go have a dissertation about the history of the Pope and the papacy and the Borgias and all of the other, all of the popes, and their power and their corruption. But I really truly think it's because, I know that, for example, like my great grandmother and my grandmother, I mean, they really took word of what the Pope said, right? And it's a power that he just doesn't have. And you can say that he has the power over the evangelicals, which I completely believe, but I really think it's because the history and what the Vatican truly symbolizes that they are so upset that they can't attain that. Because quite frankly, the Vatican does not give two fucks about them. And they don't have to. They don't have to. And I think that really bothers them, that they just they can't have a part of that power.
Absolutely, it's about power. And it's about the surrender of power. It's about, well, Camille, to go even further than that. And you're right. We could, people can dig up, and when it comes to religion, people, and that's in everybody's religion, not just for the Catholics. That's everybody's religion. If you want to dig, we can dig all day.
I just know about my corruption that I was brought up with.
but the point is that if there are any consistencies across faith practices that are healthy, one of those consistencies is that the quest for power is not good.
No.
That is not good. The quest for power is never a good thing.
No.
It is in the sharing of power and the relinquishing of power to those who are powerless and the empowerment of those who need. Those things are considered virtues. Yes? So when you see those who are of Protestant leaning and evangelical, even smaller than that, say, well, we are now going to surrender that virtue, and we are going to align ourselves with persons who believe that the only way we can achieve, quote unquote, good in the world, or which it's really not good in the world, it's achieve our way in the world, is to achieve more power. We must have the power, all the power. And then we dole out to whom we see fit where that power should go. And that power at the end of the day should only benefit us. Exactly. And if it does benefit someone else, but it should also benefit us. So it benefits me plus someone else. I could never say, oh, I'm going to do something and it only benefits Anitra or it only benefits Michelle. No, it has to benefit Nicole plus May. Nicole plus Kim, then I can dole out some of the power. But other than that, the power does not get doled out. Nope. So within that already corrupts the concept of whatever your supposed faith practice is. It's already been corrupted. So now we have this new Pope in the Catholic, over the Catholic Church, who is now carrying on the same powerless tradition. The tradition of staying true to the call of the Catholic Church, which is, though we are vast in the propagation of the sharing of power, finding the powerless and empowering them.
Yeah.
At the cost to oneself.
Right.
Selflessness.
And
right?
just to piggyback on that, that was the teachings of Saint Augustine, and his
Come on.
and he
Well,
yeah.
It was the teachings of Jesus. Come on, let's
Right,
go back to the
but
first teacher.
yes, but
But
specifically, and then you go back to Saint Peter. So
but
yeah, totally.
come on,
Yeah.
come on. I mean,
Yeah.
but so if we're sticking to it, because I mean, what's Christian, Catholicism, Protestantism is what?
Right.
Jesus without Mary. It's just like we
Right.
just skip past the
Right,
lady, the
right.
lovely lady. But
Yeah.
we're not gonna do theology study tonight.
I would love to, believe me, I love it. But yeah.
But it's the power hungriness
Yeah.
that is the tell.
Mhm.
If anyone is wondering, well, whose faith is, are they power hungry?
Mhm.
That is the automatic tell.
Yep.
Right there. You can throw it out the window if it has anything to do with the quest for power.
And with that power, they want the power so they can have the control to proliferate the what? The destruction and their agenda. And it's disgusting.
Yeah, let's just say their agenda and whole Anitra, because it could be anything. And I say anything because it could be destruction today, it could be building tomorrow, it could be the implosion of something else in the building. It is an ever-changing chameleon. It is deception. It is the very, oh Lord Jesus, y'all gonna make me preach. It's the very spirit of the dark one, because it is an ever-changing dark force that is only consumed with itself and whatever its personal desires are at the moment.
But y'all know these people ain't shit. Like they are really cowards with power. They're supposed power. Like they're not about what they really trying to be about. And that's why it's frustrating to me, because we sitting here scared of these punk ass bitches pretty much. Like these people are not powerful like the way that they think they are. They're actually quite weak and easily could be punks if we did something about it. If we just said, hey bro, you need to cool off. But like it's like having people just sit around and like let them just talk bullshit to your face in a whole ass hour-long interview, and you just sit there and let them say stuff like Stephen A, bro. Why didn't you say, hey bro, I said Harvard, not Harlem. You know what I mean? Like, why not just do that? Like, so that's why I'm like, we need to speak up and just call it what it is to their face. Like, why are we sitting here all scared?
May Money, you are so, I just have to say, you're so right. They are weak and they don't have as much power. And people really need to realize that. And history will tell us that with all of these type of dictators.
Well, we do
gotta stand up to bullies
when people push back. But I want to make sure everyone gets a chance to speak, because we are running low on time. So Andrea, I heard you had something to say, so take it away.
Yeah, the country is really looking for someone they respect and feel that if they said something, we would say, oh yeah, you're right. And us having a pope in the United States, he's diverse, he's fair. The things he say are true. The things he said about Trump, the things he said about Vance are all true. Whether he agrees with someone being gay or not, he doesn't feel that's his choice. That's not his, him to decide who's gay, who's straight. I think it's good for the country. I think we needed a pope in the United States, and I'm hoping that helps other people speak out, and we have one joint message, that there's not a whole bunch of messages where we feel we don't have anyone to follow. We need someone to look up to. They killed Martin Luther King. We need someone to look up to. They killed Malcolm X. They just keep killing our leaders.
I loved that point, especially because I love that point because it also made me realize something. The fact that Pope Leo is American makes his criticism of the administration all the more stronger.
All the more poignant, yes.
Because I personally was really hoping that we would get the guy from the Philippines. He sounded like just an incredible, incredible dude. But you know what? I don't know if it's the angel or the devil, maybe a mixture of the two on my shoulders, who were telling me if they had picked him, you know what MAGA's response would be? DEI Pope. DEI Pope, we can immediately dismiss everything he says. They can't do that with this guy. White, straight, American Pope who is saying that
And
MAGA is morally
from
corrupt
where
and
it's
evil.
from.
And that is so much more
That's
powerful.
right.
And that's why they're distraught right now. Just want to echo
Natasha,
Nikki's point.
I
Yes,
just
anyone who hasn't spoken yet.
Yeah, I just wanted to see what Natasha thinks about this because I haven't heard.
I agree with what you just said, Andy. I was thinking the exact same. I'm not Andy, excuse me, Peter, because it
No
says
worries.
Andy in my little screen there. Sorry. The exact same thing, because at first when I heard it was American, I was like, I don't know how to feel about it, because I saw comments before that people were like, oh no, we don't want an American. We don't want somebody that's woke and all this, and someone that's, progressive. But then I thought about it. I was like, yes, this is who we need to be able to make those criticisms, especially after I saw, that tweet and everything. And I was like, you know what? He'll be able to hopefully give other Americans, even people, to stand up, because it's almost like it had to take the other countries to stand up to Trump and have more people to just kind of, have more say, like Canada and China and everybody standing up instead of the people here. Like May Money said with Stephen A. Smith, every time I kept seeing that, and he's saying Harlem, and he's just, what? Like, why is everybody sitting there like, I just don't get it. And it's like they're giving him more power for no reason. I don't get it. So I agree with you on that too.
Yeah, it's great to have someone in a position of power that will speak out against him, because we've seen he doesn't like that. So that's what we need. Keisha, I also think you haven't spoken yet.
Yeah, I was raised Christian, and I am no longer a Christian. I am not religious. I don't really categorize myself, but I guess I'd say agnostic. So this is very weird to me. Like, the whole Pope thing has always been a weird thing to me, especially like the fact that there are no female popes. Like, what the fuck? So no disrespect. If people are happy with this guy, great. I'm happy for you. City of Chicago seemed happy because he's from Chicago. Yay. But yeah, it's a strange thing for me.
No, I
totally
understand.
get that.
I mean, I was actually just saying that to Peter, that I'm not religious. I went to Sunday school when I was a little kid. I have not been religious since. I would, if I had to classify myself, it would be agnostic, maybe even bordering on atheist at times. I don't know, but I'm not religious. But I found that this broke through a little bit, and I think it's just because of the influence that the Pope has on so much of the electorate, and the fact that what the Pope says, what the Pope does can be so influential for so many people in this country that, let's be honest, tend to vote towards MAGA. So it's nice to see that. And I mean, like, that being said, I respect all religions. I feel like I'm always interested to hear more about it. But I think that what makes this stand apart, I was saying to Peter that in the past, I never really thought about stuff like this. But this time, because it's something that I'm seeing MAGA get so upset about it, I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe I actually
This
do
matters.
Like this.
Why does this matter?
Yeah.
Well, Nikki, you and I were chatting. Okay, let me make one quick point. Sorry.
Yes, no, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
But Nikki and I were chatting about this earlier, where I felt the exact same way. I was like, why does this really matter? It's just another pope. We've had so many popes. And then as Nikki and I were talking this over in editorial, we sort of settled on the idea that, oh no, this could be so much worse. There could have been a backlash within the class of cardinals against how ostensibly progressive Francis was. And they could have installed someone, they could have chosen someone who was extremely conservative, who was hardline, who would preach against migrants, preach against the poor, say horrific things. And to have someone who, yes, is not perfect. He's not your standard blue-haired communist on a college campus. He doesn't have great views on gay marriage. But you know what? I will take anyone who stands up to MAGA and who champions the downtrodden any day of the week. And so I'm really happy about that. The last thing I'll quickly say is to the idea that he's from Chicago, I saw a great tweet from earlier today that deep dish beat out pizza balla. Got a kick out of that.
You good. Puns, Peter.
No, all I was gonna say was that the reason, and for the Keishas in the room, also, where it's like, okay, I see it, but I'm trying to. The reason why this matters, if you are outside of our faith traditions, if you're just like looking at this like, okay, whoop-de-woo, what are y'all, is because of weaponry. MAGA has weaponized Christianity. Everything, and specifically, very specifically, American Christianity. And I have to say it that way because American Christianity is truly its own brand. If you are Baptist over here and you move over to England and you find a Baptist church, I guarantee you it's not going to look like the Baptist church down here in Jacksonville, Florida. They everywhere else in the world, they will tell you that American Christianity, we just do things differently over here.
It's fucking weird.
It's packaged very differently. Okay. All right. So,
and
that being said, let me finish, May. Let me finish.
Oh, yeah.
So they have taken that brand of American Christianity and they have amplified it, turned it up to level 12. Okay. And sold that as if, oh, this is not level 12. This is just the standard. And everybody should believe this. This is just normal, everyday. Jesus himself would have walked this way. Jesus was American, our way, not okay, American. Now we have a Catholic Pope. He's young, he's vibrant, and he's American.
And
that matters.
He's not scared.
He's an American Christian, and he ain't scared. He's an American Christian whom the majority of the globe will listen to because listen, there are more Catholics on this planet. Come on. All right. And they are listening. All right. To propagate a message that is distinctly the opposite of what MAGA is selling as, no, this is just on-brand Christianity. And this is saying, wait a minute, no, it's not. And I'm American. I'm from the same place you're from. And I'm here to tell you, no, it's not. And they are going to listen. Whereas no one else had that same level of expertise in that area, not in the governmental area. We all know the nonsense governmentally, but don't forget, they are using faith as the weapon, that they're building all of their governmental moves off of good old-fashioned Judeo-Christian values. They tell you that all the time. Well, who else has Judeo-Christian values? Our Pope from Chicago. So now they can go tit for tat. And you'll say, well, it should be like this. And they can say, well, no.
Everybody else. Right. They want to use evil towards us, but they don't want someone to use evil towards them and put them back in their place.
Exactly. Well, so now it is tit for tat back to you to say no, based on the very grounds that you're trying to sell this package to people. The answer is no. Chapter and verse, no. Here it is. Chapter and verse, no. And no one has been able to really do that with vigor yet. So now we're going to see how much vigor our boy got.
Yeah, I was just going to say, to Andy, I think it was, Peter, I'm sorry. I did the same thing Natasha did. It's one of the weapons, first of all. So take what we can get, you know what I mean? Okay, he ain't perfect, but at least he's something, So because we're getting attacked from all different sides, so we need wherever defenses, whatever people we need, I'll take them, So as many allies and people that can speak out as we can get is important because they're attacking us from so many different sides and angles, and religion happens to be one of them. So correction, I would say to Nicole is like, yeah, it's just one of the weapons that they're using. Faith. So
God, you know what? I knew we were going to talk about the Pope tonight, but I didn't realize that I would be going to church. Thank you all so much for such a wonderful, wonderful conversation. I'm sorry to cut it off. I'm the bad guy. I'm the villain. I got to run to an event.
No, you're not.
But
Peter,
we
super
love
quickly, I have
Yes.
to tell you, just really quickly, I was a little late because I was grading undergraduate papers and making sure they weren't AI'd. So.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Well, good on you. Good on you. Start using blue books, okay? We got it. AI is anti-human. Jesus Christ.
Yep. You're not wrong.
We love you, Lemon Legends. I'm sorry that I got to pull out, but this was so lovely, and we will see you tomorrow in AM.
I know
Don't say pull out. Don't say pull out.
I gotta head
raw
out.
dogging.
Oh, goodness me.
It was so great
Goodness
having
me.
you guys on. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow at 10. And I do still see people asking about Don. Don is okay. Sadly, his sister passed away earlier this week. So he is going to be taking some time with his family. So you are with Peter and I for today, probably tomorrow. But Don will be back soon. So we thank you.
that we're thinking of him.
Give him our love, okay?
Yeah,
Yeah,
We will.
we are,
Absolutely.
Bye,
Thank you.
Lemon Nation.
Don.
Yeah.
Wait, whose
Bye,
turn
y'all.
is it,
Much
Peter?
love.
Actually, Lemon Legends,
Hit
do you
that
want to
like
say?
button
Do you want
on
to say
your
the
way
Yeah,
out.
line?
Lemon Legends, do you want to say it?
Yeah.
Yes. Turn the TV
Turn the
off.
TV off.
TV off.
Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.